You're up, buddy.
Okay. All right. Let me just get settled. Are you seeing my keynote? No, you're not. Okay. It's all very different when it's not your own computer.
We see it now.
Okay, you see my computer. Okay, good. All righty. In that case, I will get started. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. This is a useful presentation for you. Firstly, just why I'm presenting on this. Before I should introduce myself very quickly. Steve Paton from Fukuoka, well, from Australia via Fukuoka. I've been here 13 years. President of Fukuoka JAL currently, and teaching at Fukuoka University mainly. I'll get to what else I'm doing as we go along through this. Why I'm presenting this is simply the fact that occasionally things work, and it's alarming and surprising when that happens sometimes. And what I found just pretty much this year, after the rush of last year, what I found earlier this year and through the first semester, I was just getting everything done. Everything was working. I'd come up with and then stumbled upon a sort of regime that was working for me. So I simply just want to share it, just that, thing of, hey, it's working for me. I should tell other people about this. Then there's a lot to my little regime here, and I'm confident that you're not going to want to do all of this, of course, but there may be one or two little aspects of this that might kind of seem interesting to you. And so I hopefully that's what will happen. Now, I've been careful to not over prepare this. So I want to leave time at the end to get other ideas as well. I don't want it to all be about me. I'd like to have a discussion about productivity and efficiency and all that kind of thing as well. So let's get your ideas too. With that in mind, could we please hold comments and questions till the end? There will be enough time. I've timed this fairly well, I think. Also, before we begin, this is very important for me to say that none of this I have no commercial interest in any of this. I'm going to be talking about apps that do cost money, and some of them cost quite a little bit of money, actually. I have zero interest in any of this, commercial interest whatsoever, none. Okay, there's my disclaimer. Okay, so just going into my situation as a teacher, and it's not going to be dissimilar from a lot of you. I've been teaching English since 2004. It's actually since before I came to Japan. I'm teaching at 3 universities here at Fukuoka, where I am right now, Fukuoka University. I got 2 part-time jobs as well. Now, as you know, that means doing 2 15-week semesters, but not only that, right? With this self-directed work that we all do that just goes on and on and on and never ends. And anyone here completed their resume? Like, it's done, it's finished? Yeah, exactly, right? So that's the sort of basics of my work, and I'm sure a lot as well. Also, obviously, I'm very active within JALT. I'm president of Fukuoka JALT, as I said. Also, the editor of the Q Circular, which is from the Q SIG within JALT, the College of University Educators SIG. We have this newsletter-style publication that I edit because I'm a masochist. Japanese language drills is something I'm working on. It's got asterisks there. Don't go looking at this yet. It's a work in progress that I'm thinking of canning because I've got different ideas of where I should take that. I'm into drawing, and I'm active on an app called Sketch Club, which has a community thing for artists to upload things. And I'm active in sort of coordinating groups within that app as well. And I've got 3 children under 8. And what else? Running out of room here. Yes, I have certain sort of exercise necessities that I discovered last year. If I'm sitting in this chair for 8 hours a day, I will break. So I've got to devote time to that. What else? Yes, of course, I got job applications I'm learning Japanese. That takes a bit of time, I think you may have found. I write things as well. I go to conferences. It's busy, right? I say this fully aware that for a lot of you, it's going to be exactly the same thing, right? Now, the idea also up with the third point I've got there, the 2 15-week semesters plus self-directed work. The idea here is that there are these long periods of time that we just cannot waste, right? We can say we can't afford to waste these vacation times. I like to prepare as much as I can before the semester begins so that it's more manageable as we go along. Look, I think I'll just go ahead. Let's get in. I think we share a lot of in common. So this is me usually, right? But the last year it turned into this, and we all had to learn some new skills. And it wasn't just for me, what I found in sort of in hindsight at the end of last year, it wasn't that we had to do more. It was just having so many different balls in the air, things that had different sort of durations and needed different degrees of attention. And so that was the real struggle for me last year, because we had to think sort of 15 weeks at a time, at the same time as thinking, what the hell am I going to do tomorrow? So this analogy sort of works for me in terms of a juggler with a ball, because what I found sort of towards the end of last year and throughout this first semester of this year, I just simply don't drop balls anymore, generally speaking. I kind of know where they all are, and it's manageable. I'm getting things done without just this panic. Like first semester last year was basically 15 weeks of panic, right? Second semester was a lot better. This semester we've just done, it's just been sort of smooth. Now, I like to say that it isn't fun. This is a bit of a rhyme here, ready? It isn't fun, but I get it done. How's that? Thank you very much. It's not fun, but it's working. Of course, occasionally I still mess up, and but it's never been a biggie. It hasn't been a biggie for a long time, and I know what a biggie feels like. It feels like first semester of 2020, when you big problems, and suddenly they come crashing down on you all at once. What I like to do, and what I like to aim to do, is simply to set and forget. The whole point of being organized and getting productivity and efficiency hacks is that you can just put things there and know they're going to get taken care of. I can drop everything from my mind and know that I do have it sort of recorded. It's written, it's typed in, and it will be taken care of. And that means that I can then focus on some other things. So I'm going to go through a bunch of apps one by one. Now, these are Apple and iOS apps, and I'm aware that not everybody is on Apple and iOS. There are certainly, however, Android and Windows equivalents. Absolutely, I'm certain of it. And in fact, one or two of these I know have Android versions. I don't know Android at all, really. So you're going to have to sort of, and perhaps that's something we can discuss at the end. But we're going to go through these. Again, I say I have no commercial interest in this. A couple of these are actually native Mac apps, but anyway, there are equivalents. This is not a Mac or Apple-centric system I've got here. And as I said, we're only looking for you to possibly get 1 or 2 tips out of this anyway, or take your pick. All right, now you may think that I've created a bit of a regime for myself here that's pretty oppressive, because I use these extremely strictly. I absolutely depend on these apps. But the way I view it, without these, if one of these disappeared, I'd be in some strife. I'd have to go and find a workaround. But the way I view it is, it may look rigid what I'm doing to myself here, but it's only as rigid as my responsibility, the things that I'm putting into these. Like these tasks are coming regardless of whether I'm using 5 apps to get them all done or not. Now, I've been using all these apps for different times. Some of them I've been using for years, and some of them are quite newer to me. But just the way that I sort of got them all working together, like I said, I just discovered that I was not dropping balls, which is wonderful. So I'm going to go through these one by one. The first one, called One Timer. Now, we just had, Alex was talking about timers there for her students. Here's a timer that I use for myself. So this is basically, it's very simple, and I'll show you. I've got it on my iPad here ready to go. It's a countdown timer that gives voice alerts. I've never seen anything like this until I discovered it about 1.5 years or 2 years ago. Before I show you, I'll give you my definition of what it is. This is my team of perfectly loyal, reliable handlers or managers or assistants or helpers. It's a team. I've got a little staff here in this app. Keep on track and allow me to think about other things when I'm busy, when I'm doing things. Right. So I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to switch over to a new share. Sorry, I'm going to share my iPad via cable with sound. Here we go. All right. So you should be seeing, it will come up. Should be seeing this. Very simple. Here's the first screen. It's real simple. I'm going to set a 30-second timer. Ready, set, go.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, so I've set this. So it will give me a little voice reminder as I go, right, as it counts down. Probably every 10 seconds I've set it to. I can't remember. It's probably going to give me one here.
20 seconds.
There, how nice. Okay, so the idea is I found this app as a gym countdown timer because between weight training sets, you want to give about 90 seconds.
10 seconds.
But if you've got a timer just sitting there counting down, guess what? You look at something else, you get distracted, you go back to your timer, it's at 0, and you don't know how long it's been at 0.
Time is up.
Time is up. Thank you very much. So if you've got your headphones in, this is fantastic. At the gym, 90 seconds. Bang, I hit that.
1 minute, 30 seconds.
I can go off and do something else and talk to somebody that's in my earphones and it will count down for me. It's wonderful. All right. Now it's very, very simple. We go to this page, the advanced tab. Along the bottom, you can see this advanced tab. And this is on my phone usually. I've got it on my iPad because it's bigger. But I can create customized and reusable timers. The first one I want to show you is the third one along here. Class starts. Class starts at 10:30 a.m. So if I got a class starting at 10:30 a.m., let's actually change this and imagine I'm teaching this afternoon and it's going to be at 14:40 p.m. instead. So I've got a class coming. Oh yeah, when's that? Bang.
Class starts. 2 hours 57 minutes 39
Okay,
seconds.
cool. And that will remind me at different intervals as it goes along. Right? It'll be every 30 minutes. I've set it up. I can't remember exactly what I've set, but 30 minutes, every 30 minutes. And then when it's got half an hour to go, it'll probably give me every 5 minutes. When it's got 5 minutes to go, it'll give me every 1 minute. Right? Just so that I can free my attention and go and do something else while it's doing that. It's wonderful. In the morning, when I've got to get out the door, I'll be having breakfast. It's like, okay, look at the clock. How much time I've got? Look, I tell you what, I've got to get out in.
Get out of here. 20 hours, 2 minutes and 6
I don't think
seconds.
I'll run it quite that long until tomorrow morning, but that's a really handy thing in the morning when you've got, 59 minutes and then you've got 45 minutes and then you've got, 5 minutes to get out the door in time. It just sits there on my shelf while I'm getting ready and it tells me how much time I've got. It's fantastic. I mean, it's been a real game changer. Basically, I go through the day in a usual work day. I mean, this class starts thing, I can change that as often as I need to. And pretty much everything that I finish, right, I'll finish a class. Okay, what's next? And I'll set the timer for it. And it's wonderful. I mean, some people might be thinking, gee, that's a bit crazy to have this person talking at me all day. But these are my managers. These are my good friends. I've got a meeting starting this afternoon at that. So I've got
meeting starts. 1 hour 46 minutes 18 seconds.
cool, and it'll remind me every half an hour. So that often when it reminds me, the news is quite good. I'm like, oh, cool. I can manage that. I've got plenty of time. So to set a timer, basically, when you'll set a new timer, you can set it. You can see down the bottom here, it says set by duration, which is how many minutes do you want to go, or hours, or a target time. So if you've got your meeting starting at 1:30, or whether you want to do something for the next hour, right? Such as stretch. I've got a stretch timer there. If I just want to put that on and stretch for a full 5 minutes without getting distracted, it's a wonderful app. And there is an Android version of this. I do happen to know, actually, I'm going to pull out of this, go back to my Keynote.
Steve?
Yes.
Just wanted to tell you, your iPad screen share shows quite well, but your camera is starting to freeze and stop and stutter for bits of time at a time.
Right.
It's good now, though. It just came back. Yep, just thought I'd tell you.
Maybe. Okay, thanks. Maybe running hot. If it does it again, tell me and I'll turn the fan on.
I will.
Okay, cool. Good. All right. It could tell you, I'll take 1 second and I'll just turn that down. Give me a second. All right. Yes. Okay. Should be right now. Okay. So that's one timer. As I said here, yes, here we go. You seen that again? Here you are. Okay, my team of perfectly loyal, reliable managers and helpers to keep me on track and allow me to think about other things. Basically, what this app has meant for me throughout the year is that I'm just always on time. I'm always on time. And I'm never late to a class. I'm never stressed when I get there because I've been given warning that it's coming, right? I can concentrate fully on other things until that thing is coming up. It's great, right? Now, as I said, sometimes it's good news. I've got 40 minutes left when I've got nothing to do. And other times it's a bit of a kick up the ass to get going and, hey, I've got to hurry up and be ready for this class on time, right? It's very customizable. You can use different voices. You can use different statements as it says along. I could set something out to say, hey, hurry up. You've only got 5 minutes left. You can customize the sentence. It's good fun. I enjoy it. It's a fun app and I use it all the time. And I used it this morning in the gym. And I've, well, not so much on vacation days, but often, all day, every day of a work day, I'll use it. All right, the next one is To-Do. Now, To-Do is simply a to-do list app. And there are many of these, and many of them will share features. And my point here is to show you what's worked for me within this app and what you might look for. If you don't use a to-do list app and you're thinking of it, or you do use one, I want to just sort of show you some features in this that are not unique to this app by any stretch, but they've been very, very useful for me this year. All right, so a to-do list app with great features for organizing various kinds of tasks in various ways. All right, so now I'm going to show you on my iPad again. This is syncing currently from 5 different devices for me. I've got a phone, I've got 2 iPads, 2 MacBooks, and It syncs through Dropbox. It's very, very convenient. So anytime I update on one, it'll be updated when I look at it on another device. This is a great one. It has folders for separating different aspects of work and life. That's not uncommon, as I say, but it's been a good one for me this year, and I'll show you how I use that. Tasks can have a due date or not. That's important. Sometimes you want them just to sit there and be a reminder. Other times they're going to have a due date, even a due time. I've used a lot this year, tasks that recur after completion. So you do something and you can set it up. That's a repeating thing. It'll repeat every week. It'll repeat every 4 months. It'll however often you want it to. Also, it can repeat after a specific amount of time, or like every Monday, or every 4 days after completion, something like that. Here's been a big one for me this year. It handles not only single tasks one by one, but also checklists. That's been a real winner. Now, I'm going to take the risk of actually showing you my for real. Sorry, where can I not? I'm not seeing that. Here it is. All right, I'm going to stop the share and do a new one. Share this. I'm going to go back to my iPad and show you my for real to-do list, slightly curated just for privacy's sake. But here we go. Here's what it looks like for me. So this is a nice one. Down the left, you can see all the different categories I have, my couple of universities, my work, broader work, my general life. I've got jout things I do. I've got things to buy. I've got all these different categories of stuff that I do. In the middle here, here's my list of things. Off to the right, I don't really use that so much. It's looking at my calendars as well. All right. Hey, it looks like I didn't buy the milk on the way home yesterday. That's a shame. Okay, I better set that for today. I'll just hold that and say, yes, put that on for today. Done. Okay, cool. A couple of things that are coming up here. You can see this, the Monday afternoon task I'm going to come back to. Yamamoto Sensei Zoom. I have my weekly Japanese lesson this afternoon with Yamamoto Sensei. That's a recurring thing. You can see the circle has an arrow. That's the Zoom link. So it'll come up for me every Tuesday, and I can just copy that, put it in this browser, and then I can be in the classroom on time. I've got a starred one. The third one there is starred. This is do that Fukurai survey. I've got to do this. This is David emailed me about that on the 11th of August, and I still haven't done it. I know it's due on the 31st, so I've got time, but there it is. I might do that today. Got to do this, got to do that. Down here, you can see some are recurring and some are not recurring. If I happen to buy milk on the way home, actually, yeah, done that. All I got to do is tap it, and it's gone. That was a fake one I just made for this. All right, really, really simple. If I want to make a new one, I must remember that I have to email Alex about that thing. What can you see here? I can, as simple as that, I can set it for today, tomorrow, or I can pick a time over on the right. Pick a time, it'll bring up a calendar. I must email him on this coming Friday, in fact. And you know what else? Actually, no, tell you what, let's just say that's done. Yep, save that. But the other thing is, I must remember to water my plants at home. And I'm going to make this a recurring one. Down the bottom of this box, you can see the third one, the second one's a clock, the third one's an arrow, like a recycle arrow. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to go for a custom repetition or recurrence on every given period. I want to water my plants at home, say every 5 days, because it's quite hot these days. And I'm going to set it so that it repeats after completion, so that whenever I tap that, whether early or late, I'll tap it and it'll just reset itself for 5 days in the future. It's beautiful. So,
Steve?
All right, it's a real winner. Yes.
I just wanted to tell you it's happening again. Your camera is freezing up again.
Give me 1:30. Give me 2 seconds. It'll be because my computer's running hot. So I brought a fan right next to it. It should be better now.
Got it.
You hearing the voice all right, Jose?
Yeah. Audio is fine.
Yep.
Share is fine.
Okay.
It's just your camera is.
My camera. Okay, it's fine. Well, nothing lost there. Thanks, Joe. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you here was at the top here. It says Monday afternoon tasks. This has been a killer for me this year. I've set a list of things. As you can see, it says 9 in the little box here. So this is a checklist. And if I tap on this, here's all the things that I have to do every Monday afternoon. Right? I've got to record all the attendances from the free classes I just did. I've just brought this forward from the last time I did it a few weeks back, right? I've got to give the new Quizlet sets to my Monday classes for next week's words. All right, I've got to record their Quizlet scores. So this becomes a checklist. Now, as I do each one, if I've recorded the attendance, okay, I'll tap that, good. And now I've only got 8 left to go. And it's given me a little progress bar. See along there, along the top, the blue line is sort of progressing here. All these acronyms you don't need to know. Is tomorrow's FLC in the iPad? Yes, it is. I did put the FLC into my iPad ready for tomorrow, so that's all done. And the number is going down and down and down. It's great, right? So once I've done all these, yes, did it all, gave the bonus points to the DDD winners, got the essay handled, good, it's done. Okay, I'll tap that. What have I got left to go? Oh, here we are. I got to give my new quiz set. Yes, it's done. Thank you very much. Hit the top one. I'll come out of that actually. And there's Monday classes done, and that will now disappear to next week. It's fabulous. And I've sort of update that as I go along through the semester and add things to it and take things away that I don't use anymore. It's a real winner. So if you're looking at having a to-do list app, there are a couple of the features that you want to get. A few things that just come up for me, recurring things that you might not think of, but this might be interesting to you. Like I've got a reminder set every 2 weeks to just clear off my desk and do a wipe down with the spray and do a proper thorough big cleanup. Just once every 2 weeks sort of seems to be the right time when there's just a tiny bit of dust, but not too much, right? That's a good thing that comes up, and I tap it and it's done, and it'll come up again for me in 2 weeks. I don't have to remember. How often do you check through your spam folders? Because I've got a reminder that reminds me just to have a look at them sort of every 4 days, right? I'll just have a look at it. Yeah, that's fine. It'll take 5 seconds, but it gets done. And occasionally it'll save you, right? When we were in the classroom, I used to have this thing of check that I've got working pens in my bag, because it's just so embarrassing to get to the classroom, right? And you've got to ask a student to borrow their pen because you've left your pen on your desk. And right, so I've got a little regime of that to remind myself. Occasionally, it's just good to restart your iPad and restart your phone, right? Just to do a restart. I've got a reminder set every sort of 4 or 5 days. Things just work better when you give it a reboot. Checking certain websites periodically, right? Just so I want to have a look at it. I must have a look at this again, a blog or something that updates every now and then. I'll just have a look at that. Input, one of my universities wants me to input their attendance once a month. So I have a reminder set for the final Friday of every month, just to put in that month's attendance. That's a handy thing. I don't forget. And there's no one ever email me, hey, you didn't put your attendance in this month. Checking through undated items, because within my list, I have a lot of items that don't have a due date. So they don't often come up for me. I don't see them. So I've got a reminder there as a recurring reminder to just scroll down and have a look at all these things that I know have to be done at some point, but aren't sort of scheduled yet. Because a couple of them, I might be like, oh yeah, okay, I better schedule that now. For instance, you're in week 6 and you're doing something in the class and you think, okay, next time I do this, I want to change it. So I'll just write a reminder, but I don't need it with a date yet. So I'll just sort of put that, hey, next time I do this chapter in this book, do this differently. Thing you want to memorize. Had a new neighbor in my neighboring office this year. Couldn't remember his name, or I wanted to remember his name, so I put it in here, and I get a reminder every 3 days what his name is, and it takes about 2 weeks, and I've got it. It's fine, right? It's a really handy little thing. Another thing, when you email somebody, here I've given this its own screen. This is a killer. You email somebody, and then I've got a text shortcut set that when I type XHA, it automatically expands to this. Have I heard back from Alex about the email I sent him on Monday? And I'll set that for tomorrow. Because how many times do you email somebody, they don't get back to you, and you forget that you emailed them. And then suddenly it's crisis because that thing that you needed them to get back to you about is not working. All right, a few tips I've got about using to-do lists. Putting things off until tomorrow is fine. Unless it's not, right? To do doesn't necessarily mean that you actually have to do this right now because you're reading it, right? I approach this app every morning. It comes up for me fresh every morning, right? I approach it every morning with my finger hovering very carefully over the Y key. That's the shortcut to move that thing to tomorrow. I just want to be reminded, right? I just want to see it there. Oh yeah, that thing's coming. That thing's coming. That thing about the survey that David emailed me about on August 11. I've just been putting that off. That's fine. It's not urgent. I know that I just haven't wanted to do that. I've been hanging out with my kids and stuff. So I'll do that probably on Thursday when my boy goes back to school. But bumping things off to tomorrow is fine. It's not a source of stress, right? I've got an enormous list. I have, in fact, 151 items on my to-do list. 151. They're all spread out over the next year, but I've got no stress in putting it off till tomorrow. I use what I call an MM task. That's a little thing I just call manual move. I don't want it recurring regularly on any time schedule, but something will come up and I'll be like, oh yeah, I must remind myself of this. So when I see it, I know not to just dismiss it and get rid of it forever. I'm going to change the date rather than, done. I'm going to change the date and bump it off till next month or whatever it is. That's a good example for things I want to memorize. If it's his name and I've got it, okay, I've got his name now, but I might want to be reminded in, say, a month, or I'm going to bump into it before then, but something that I want to memorize, I'm going to give it a month, then maybe give it 2 months and do the spaced repetition thing. Anyway, that's to-do lists. Now, the next one, I don't need to screen share with this one. It's reminders. Now, this is a native Mac and iOS app, but I'm certain there is an Android equivalent. It's basically kind of like a to-do list. It's kind of like a to-do list. For me, and this is for all the iOS users here, basically for me, this app is Siri or Alexa or whoever you use, right? I don't know the Android thing, Cortana, I don't know. Right? But this for me is basically Siri. And when I say this sentence, which I won't say because if I say it, your phones will explode, right? Hey, at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, remind me to take the red textbook, right? I say that and Siri turns away and goes, okay, got it. And then at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, I'm going to get an alert on my phone that says, hey, take the red textbook because it's in my home office. So I need to bring it down here to do a class and I don't forget. Right. Basically, what I use this for that's different from to do is that it is immediate and it's intrusive in a way that I don't want my to-do list to be. Right. When I'm using this Siri, this is getting on my phone's home screen. This is in my face. Right. It's that reminder that I want exactly at a certain time. All right, exactly at 8:58 a.m. on Tuesday when I'm about to leave the house, I want to be reminded that I have to take such and such or else I'm through that day. Right. I like to use it this way because it's easy to mark it as done directly from the notification. I just do a long press or a force touch or something. I can't remember what they call it now, but and I can say complete and it's gone and I never see it again directly from the notification. I don't need to launch the app and I don't need to go looking for it. To do for me, I want to go looking for that, but occasionally there's things I want it to stick at me and attack me with. A couple that I've used through the semester, the one I showed you here at 8 a.m. on Monday, remind me to take that red textbook so I've got it from my class. Here's one I did at 2:37 p.m. next Thursday, remind me that we didn't do page 35 last week, right? So this is my period 3 class or period 4 class. 1 week, I didn't finish that final page. So I wanted a reminder 3 minutes before the class starts, right, next week that, we should start with that page that we didn't do at the end of the last chapter. Fabulous, right? So, I just set and forget. I come to that class, I get everything set up and then my phone goes ding. Oh yeah, that's right. Yes. Okay. We're starting that page. Fixed, complete, done. Never see it again. At 4:25 p.m. Friday, remind me that I must speak to a few students. Okay. So this was a class at the end of which I wanted to talk to a couple of stragglers, right? So this is just set up. This is to remind me 5 minutes before the end of the class. Oh, hey, Dadika and Dadika, can you just stay after? I need to ask you about your lack of homework or something like that, right? But that just comes in a class. It's intrusive enough to get my attention, but doesn't cause any trouble. Nobody else sees it, right? But that's a really handy thing. It's in my face. Yes, I did a lot of Google form tests. So I had this one. I had all through the week with the same class using the same test. So I wanted to open it and close it for the entire week. So I just sat here talking to Siri, telling Siri exactly what time to open, that I wanted to be reminded to open it and then to be reminded to close it. And another one I have, here's this one, at 4:30 every Friday, remind me to start the Pokemon timer. Pokemon starts at 6:55 p.m. on Fridays, those of you who don't know. So I've got in my one timer, my voice timer app, I've got a Pokemon thing. Pokemon starts 45 minutes and that will start counting down. So I'll set that when I'm at work. When I get home, my phone's already reminding me every 10 minutes. My kids hear it and then they know they got to get all their stuff done before Pokemon starts in 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute. Off goes. All right, now the next one. This is a Keynote. Now, Keynote is presentation software. I'm using it right now. This is Keynote. It's basically the PowerPoint of Apple. For those who don't know, this is like PowerPoint. Yes, so it's presentation software, but it's also a very convenient and familiar layout tool. this is a little hack that I've got for just using Keynote as something that it is not. It's a presentation software. I'm going to show you in a minute. This is particularly useful during my long days and weeks of non-class work. Through the winter, this was just wonderful, and it's going to be wonderful again when my kids go back to school next week and I'm back to kind of preparing for classes. I'll show you what I mean. It's just simply a really good way to get organized and plan your work through the day. I use it in conjunction with one timer, and I'll show you how. What excites me about this is working through the winter, as I said, February, March. Suddenly, I was just simply finding that long-term projects that I thought were going to take weeks and weeks and weeks were just inexplicably finished. I couldn't believe it again and again, like literally. It's like, how did I get that done? I started that only sort of a week and a half ago and it's finished. Like, how can that be? It didn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to launch my Keynote deck here, which I call my days planner. I'm going to share you, hang on, let me share this with you. All right, again, this is for real. I'm going to show you my real deal here. So all I've done is set up a single slide with a little calendar down the side here. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I don't know why I started on Sunday. I can't remember. But here's all the things that I have. Basically, these are all the balls that I have in the air. All right. I've got to do things for JALT. I've got to do this. I'm going to cut this movie. I've got to think about my JALT 2021 presentation. I've got to plan these things, right? All this. I've got to prepare for Sainan. I've got to, right? So basically, at the beginning of every workday, I would simply, what's today? Thursday, right? So if I was no, it's Tuesday. Oh, okay, that's not very good. All right, let's do Tuesday. So first thing I'm going to do is I spend sort of half an hour on this, and then I'm going to spend half an hour doing this. And then I'm going to spend, I don't want to do that today. Then I'm going to spend half an hour doing this. And then I'm going to spend half an hour doing this. And then I better spend half an hour doing that. And what else might I do today? Okay, I better do my tax return job that I'm planning to do for my taxes in Australia that year. Now, I lay that out. And here's what just was magic is I set up a timer in one timer that says, keep doing this thing for 30 minutes. 5 minutes later, it says, keep doing this thing for 25 minutes. 20 minutes, 15, 5, 2, 1 minute. And at the end, it says, right, stop doing this and go and do something else. At which point I'll say, okay, I'll stop doing that. And then I'll get started on writing up my my US paper that's due in September 1st. I'll do that for 30 minutes. Set my timer and it just tells me keep doing this thing 30 minutes 25 minutes, and I do everything a little bit. This was so counterintuitive to me. If I've got a paper that I'm writing up, ordinarily I would say, right, okay, I'm going to do this this week. This is my big job this week. But guess what? You get burned out. And then suddenly there's all these other things that you haven't looked at for the entire vacation time and never got done. So I just came up with this thing through the winter of like just doing each thing for half an hour. When it's done, leave it undone and go to the next thing and do that for half an hour. And I got my little reminder boss, my manager here, she's telling me keep doing this thing for 30 minutes, 25, 20. I got so much done. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. Just half an hour a day of certain things adds up like magic. And I've got all of these balls in the air. All of these balls, you can see all my balls in the air here. Careful of my language here, but you can see all the balls that I have in the air here. But they get done, and it's fantastic. So it's a nice little thing. I'm using Keynote because it's just an easy drag and drop thing, right? And I can change the color and make it look a bit pretty, and it's fun. And that was just such a winner. I can't recommend it highly enough. We can talk about this as we wrap up. All right, I'm going to go back to the main Keynote. We're getting towards the end. We're on good time, and we're going to have time to. Sorry, here we are. I need to play it in the window and go. Sorry. Try that again. Okay, that's ready to set here. Okay, and play it this way. Right. Okay, so there's my little one-timer thing, which I found fun. In fact, I made it say, "Excuse me, sir," so that it was very polite, because I just had fun. And I have fun with my kids with this as well. They listen in, and they, when she's telling me, keep doing this thing, it's like, that's a bit bossy, Dad. Like, okay, so I'll make her say, excuse me, sir, keep doing this thing for a further 25 minutes. And off she goes. And at the end, she says, right, that's enough. Now go and do something else. And of course, I'm free to just do it for another 5 minutes if I want to, or I can end it early if I want to, but it's a nice guide, right? It keeps me going. And this productivity thing, I tell you, I couldn't believe it. And as I said, it was very, very counterintuitive. It doesn't feel good to leave something, when you're in a flow, and to stop it. And but I'm vibing on this thing right now. I'm writing well. It's like I have occasionally just kept on going. And when it's due tomorrow, you've got to keep on going. That's fine. But when it's not due for a couple of weeks or something, or it's a long-term project, do a little bit. And my whole new modus operandi now is, it's coming up here. Sorry, yeah, so counterintuitive. But my new modus operandi is to be kicking several cans down the road at once. And it has just worked really well. And with my little Keynote slide there, my little drag and drop organizational tool, I can see what I've done that day. I can see that a couple of things are up the top I haven't done for a while, so I might drag them into tomorrow. I can sometimes plan the next couple of days that I must remember. I must give this at least half an hour this week, and I must give this at least half an hour this week. It's fabulous. It's a really, really a winner. All right, and coming back again, I can set and forget. I know these things are going to be done. I know they're going to get done. All right, now the last one I'm going to show you is just a bit of fun. Sorry, I should go back and say, look, I'm using Keynote there. I'm sure you could use PowerPoint. Obviously, you can certainly use PowerPoint for that. It's just simply a drag and drop tool. And anytime you come up with a new sort of project or task, you simply duplicate that block and put the new text in there and drag that around, right? So this by no means anything really to do with Keynote at all. It's simply you could do it with Word, right? But just have a nice document there that you can drag things around with a background. I've got that calendar set and locked. All right, Hindsight. Now, Hindsight is just a fun little app here that I put in this presentation in case I had time. No, I do. So let's have a look here. Hindsight's fun. And sure, there are Android equivalents. It's an iPhone app, and I've got it on the iPad. It simply answers the question of how long has it been since I did such and such. And it's just a fun little thing. If I turn my iPad this way, I'll be able to show you. I use this not only for work things. This is sort of branching out from work. If I do a new share, here we go. I'll go back to the iPhone via cable. Is that going to come? Yeah, it is. All right. So here's my little thing. So there are a couple of things that I'm just tracking. I just sort of wondered occasionally, I try to read to my kids every night, right? Ideally, but then suddenly, you feel like, geez, it must be a week's gone since I've done that. So I just have this thing, and at the end of the day, if I remember, if I don't, never mind. But if I remember, I'll just sort of swipe across here and say, yeah, I just read to my kids, so that's done. So it's been actually 1 second since I read to my kids, and I'd like to keep that to be within sort of 1 day, right? Well, how often do you clear your inbox and just have everything sort of inbox, nice and clean? I like to sort of, when it gets messy, I want to know, well, geez, how long has it been since I've actually done this? It's like, oh yeah, geez, well, it's been 3 weeks. Okay, I better do that. And that might be something that I put on my to-do list. But really simply, I can clear inbox. There's all the times that I've cleared my inbox in the last, years. It gives me an average interval of how often I clear my inbox. The shortest interval, I did it once within 7 hours of doing it before. And the longest I've gone to 16 days when it's just been, a mess. I've got to do this just to get myself to clear my head. If I wanted to, I could add an occurrence from here and say, that's right, I did actually do it yesterday, yesterday afternoon at about 2 o'clock. That'll do. Save that. And it's been now 22 hours. Just a fun little app. Oh, certainly I'm enjoying Hindsight. Of course I am. Yes. That was impromptu, unplanned. No, I don't want to write a review. There we go. So there's a couple of things that I'm planning. Again, 2D tasks, that's something else. Here's my exercise tracker. This is how often I exercise. In fact, I did this morning. I can do a workout. I did a workout this morning, so I'll add one that I did one, never mind the time, but it was about 8 o'clock. I was closer to 9. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not counting the hours, but it's usually a matter of counting days. It's a fun little app to keep track of how often you do things and how often it's been since I watered my plants. You'll be very glad to know that it started raining this morning, so I took my plants outside onto the balcony to get their rain. So I'm going to put that as having done it right now, and it goes to the top of my list. So that's Hindsight. That's a fun little app that I don't take too seriously, but it does sort of prompt you to do things that you haven't done for a long time, because occasionally they do show up. Oh, here we go. Yes, a couple of things to say about Hindsight. Mostly it's just a curiosity, but occasionally it's just a bit of a nudge. Hey, you should do this thing. These are for things that I don't want on to do. I don't want to be reminded to do these things. I'm going to do them anyway, like water my plants and stuff. I'll notice when my plants are dying. So I don't want to be notified. I could actually put a reminder to do that. But anyway, this one can alert you via notifications. And it's just interesting for data nerds of how often you do things. And if you feel like, if you're a real, spreadsheet and data nerd, then you might use that. You can actually export the data as a CSV, and then you could make a graph out of it. Talk about fun. Hey, I had to have a good time. All right, so there's my 5 apps, and I hope that you've gotten something or some idea from something here along the way. And I do want to open this up and have a discussion about other hacks as well, because basically, here's my thing of where I found myself sort of throughout last year. I think I have, as many sort of balls in the air now, but it feels so much easier because a lot of them are maybe sort of above the screen here. You can't see them, but they are taken care of. I've got it. It will get done. It's wonderful. All right, so I'm going to give you one final tip before we can then open it up, and we've got a good amount of time to share some ideas here. And this is a final tip that I got. Actually, I just found it on Reddit in the Life Pro Tips subreddit for people who just have a bit of good advice, a little life hack. And it has to do with how to apply efficiency and productivity principles into your non-work life, into your family life, into your free time life. How do you get that, good efficiency and productivity happening in your free time and your... Here's the answer. Ready? Don't apply efficiency and productivity in your non-work life. Take it easy, all right? When you're not at work, be inefficient and unproductive and unconcerned, because work, and that's where you got to get things done, and life is life, and that's where we're allowed to sort of take it easy and have a nicer time as we go along, right? So there's a bit of a tip that I saw because getting all excited about how efficient I'm becoming and how productive I'm being, and I'm not dropping balls anymore, and things are getting done. But that sort of hit me. It's like, that's actually, it's a really good idea. Don't separate one from the other. All right, there we go. So that's my productivity and efficiency apps, tips, and hacks for getting it done. That's my email address, and I do have these slides up, well, most of them up on a website here. I'll leave that there, and take a look at that if you like, or get in touch, and if you'd like to know more. And on that note, I will ask anybody got anything to add, suggest, recommend, or anything for anybody else?
Before we do get into Q&A, I want to ask that everyone open up their microphones. Give Steve a big round of applause. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Steve, you're okay, good. I was about to suggest that you kill your share. Maybe then your camera can go a little smoother. Okay, floor's open.
Yeah. I want to hear some hacks. I want ideas. My pen is ready.
Hi, can I start first just by asking a question?
Yes.
Hi, I was wondering if you could just quickly tell us of the one, timer, to do, and hindsight, which of those cost money? And I know about reminders.
Okay, that's a good
Keynote.
Question.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, that's a good question, because and when I don't know what it's like on Android, but when you bought the app on the iPhone, you go to the App Store, you can't see how much it costs. So I don't actually know. Here's what I do know. I know that One Timer has a free version that has some restrictions, but I don't know what they are. And the full version, he bumped the price of this quite recently, only about 2 months ago. And I believe if someone's already gone and had a look at the full unlocked version, something like $20, which is a bit of a hit, isn't it? But I tell you what, I would absolutely pay it. I'm getting that much value out of this app. I would gladly pay $20 for this app. I happen to have got it a couple of years back when it wasn't that expensive. So sorry to sort of lay it on you that it's a bit of a pricey one. I mean, play around with the free version as long as you can, I guess. But then if there are I don't know what the restrictions are. I don't know what I showed you there that you can't do on the free version. So sorry about that, and I don't know what it is. The other one you asked me was To Do. To Do was expensive when I bought it about 6 years ago. It was something like $10 for the iOS version and something like 50 for the Mac version. But it was so good for me on the iOS, and it was syncing between iPad and iPhone, that I thought it would be nice to have on there. And I had a look at it, and it looked nice. And it's everything's easier for me on the phone. Well, heavy jobs are always better for me on the computer. So I forked it out. But I don't know what it costs now. In fact, if anybody's sort of been having a look on the app stores as we've been going through this, could you let us know what they cost if you've seen?
Thank you. Someone answered in the chat.
Oh, okay. I didn't see
about
that.
one timer. Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
Andy
Beth.
says it's
One-
1,000. Sorry, Cassie, go. Sorry.
No. I was just reading it. Yeah, 1,480 yen for lifetime payment.
Lifetime payment. Okay.
And
Yeah.
two-
All right.
Yeah.
And I got to be very, very clear that I have no commercial interest whatsoever in this,
Right.
but I would recommend it for that price. I
Yeah,
really would.
but they-
I mean, play
they
around
all
with the free
sound
version
great.
as long as you can, right? Yeah. Play around with the
Thank
free
you so
version as long as you
much.
can, but not at all. Not at all. I love it. I mean, I really have a lot of fun with that app, and I get it to say silly things to me, and it amuses my kids and stuff like that. And it's really, really cool. Glenn, you got a hand up.
Yeah, I learned a little technology, the hand.
Oh, yeah.
As a fellow editor, I just put my question in the chats.
I missed it.
To
Sorry.
verbalize it, it's basically when you have projects with various either deadlines or various blocks of items within there,
Mm.
like you and me in editing multi-issue journals.
Yeah.
Have you come up with anything that helps organize that? I mean, to me, the old industrial Gantt chart where you have several horizontal bar graphs
Mm.
is one way of doing it, but I haven't found anything.
Yeah, I've tried over the years to find Gantt chart apps that would work for me, but they never did because I mean, the way I run the Q circular is basically with this sort of regime of checking things occasionally. You know, I've got that timer, and that especially that thing of have I heard back from. That's a real winning hack. Everybody should take. You know, you email somebody, hey, can you get back to me about that thing? Immediately, it takes 5 seconds. XHA, look up about text shortcuts. Right, I've got an array of text shortcuts. XHA, it expands to have I heard back from Alex about the thing. All right, put it on tomorrow, and then I'll remind and I'll get that. Oh yeah, that's right. I got to check that. That's been a win for the Q circular. Certainly, have I heard back from such and such editor about this paper, or have I heard back from such and such author with their revisions and that kind of thing as well. But no, the Gantt chart never really worked for me because there wasn't. I don't know. I didn't find it dynamic enough. I found it. I like the look of them. They look cool, but it was never. I mean, I need that thing to sort of be on. To look at me every day and to be a bit more responsive to what has just happened and then what I need to have happen next. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. The only one that came close to working for me was something called monday.com.
I've heard it. I've
If
seen
anybody
the
wants
ads
to
on
look
YouTube.
into it, go ahead, but
Yeah.
monday.com.
All right.
I had another question, but I'll let other folks ask.
Okay. Well, let's see if anyone does. Someone's got the telly on. That's Jose. I think Jose's watching TV.
No. But I'll get him. Well, I think that was John. I think that was John.
All right.
Anybody else with a question?
Hmm.
Or a hack that they've done themselves and can
Hack,
compare to
yeah.
what Steve did? I guess not.
I guess not. All right. Well,
Okay,
we can have a lunch
I
break.
can
Is there
share
another section?
something.
Go.
Oh, hi, but it's not an online tool. Actually, I used to be obsessed with being online and doing everything online and writing emails to people, but I had some life changes like a child and then
Yeah.
a change to a rewarding but very busy job. And then in the midst of that, in the midst of the corona pandemic and everything, I ended up getting a concussion,
Oh.
which was actually that was awful. It lasted 2 months, but then thanks to that, I discovered, I happened to look at my bookshelf and I found this thing called the Productivity Planner.
Mm.
And it was this book I hadn't opened and I was like, what's this? What is this? And then, sorry, I can show you, but basically, you start, oh, I'm gonna turn off my background. You can see my messy apartment. And it's based on everything that you've talked about, Steve, but it's just, what's it called? Analog. And it's really nice for me, actually, because it calms me down. But I'll try to give a quick summary because I don't want to take up too much time. How do I switch off my background? Choose virtual background. None. Okay. You can see all my daughter's artwork. So basically you make a list of like everything that you have to do. And so I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even use the computer for like a month. And so my lists were getting, as the weeks went on, crazily longer and longer and longer and like messier and messier and messier. But you put the top 5. Let me show a blank one. And if you look up Productivity Planner, you can download like a blank one, so you don't have to actually buy it, but I like it. So I don't know if you see, but you have the top most important 5 tasks, middle most important 5 tasks, and then like the least ones, like, so like, yeah, I want to memorize 10 more Japanese kanji or whatever. And then for each day of the week, you choose one of the most important, and then you set Pomodoro timers. So this is exactly what you said, like you were breaking things down into 20-minute segments. And at first, when I heard this, I was like, whatever, but I'm just willing to try anything to reduce all of these things I have to get done. And it was really wonderful. And so you have you have your most important task, your secondary tasks of importance, additional tasks, and a place for notes. And then you're supposed to give yourself a productivity score, but I don't do that. And then I pasted my own calendar in because it didn't have it. But this has changed my life. I don't use it all the time, but when I get really stressed or like I have a lot to do and I'm procrastinating because I'm knowing I have to do things, but I can't start. This helps me break it down so that I can get started. And I'm just trying to tell everyone as possible that I can about it, because it's really just, I get so much done and I have more free time to play music and be with my friends. And I don't just sit there and procrastinate and accidentally open up Duolingo and learn another language. You know what I mean? So productivity.
Yeah, or Reddit. Yeah, right on. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean, I don't think I've discovered anything particular the unique, you know, and my little planner there was a Keynote hack, you know, that you could use on a Word document or something. I just like to drag around rather than put it down and then I want to change it, I've got to erase or something. But I prefer the digital one. But I can see the attraction with the analog thing as well. And I mean, I'm trying to get having my time kids to like actually I make time 5 minutes to actually think, which I never did before. And then I'm not thinking about it at night, you know. So so that's another thing. Anyway. No, you're right. On my on that Keynote hack thing there, the first thing you would have seen was like it says something like to do and organize. So like the first 30 minutes every day is me just going through my to-do list and checking emails and putting things in order. And I do that for 30 minutes. And sometimes it takes me 10 minutes and I'm like, oh, cool, it's all done. You know, all my emails are clear. I got all that. I'm ready. I've worked out what I'm going to do for the next sort of time slots. And it's great, but I do that every time. That's always the first thing on my list, is just to get organized, have a look at this, you know, see what's coming up, look at the calendar, all that kind of thing. But just to, you know, keep your mind aware of what's coming up. And that has also to do, I'll come to you, Andy, you know, that thing of, you know, going through my to-do list might often be simply putting a whole bunch of tasks on tomorrow, but I see them every time. I see them every day. That thing's coming up, that thing's coming up, that thing's coming up. And it's just in my mind once a day. I'm like, yeah, cool. It's not urgent. I don't need to worry about it, but it's coming and that's fine. And I'll get to it when I get to it. Andy, you had a hand up. Do you want to?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Steve. You know, one thing I learned from last year's summer workshop was someone recommended the book Atomic Habits, and one of the things it talked about was like for little tasks that you want to create a habit of doing like daily, you kind of make chains of them. Right. You wake up, you get a glass of water, you do 10 push-ups, you check your things you want to remember, you organize your day. and you
Yeah.
kind of make a chain of things. And I noticed in that one timer app, there was a thing called chains.
Yes.
It looked like it was just for that. Have you used it for that purpose?
I haven't. Yeah, that's the third item on that app. Yeah, the first one is just a simple timer. You just punch in how much time you want it, and it'll remind you according to how often you want it to be reminded. The next one is those preset ones you can save with a title and it'll read out the title or something. Yeah, the third one is chain, so you can. And I actually do use that now. I've only started using that in the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks for this new sort of workout thing I'm doing at home. It's like I basically want to just get some light weights and move them up and down for 90 seconds and then take a 40-second break. And it recycles. So I've got 2 timers, a 90-second thing. And at the end, it says, right, take a break. And then it says ding, and then it counts down for 45 seconds. And then, and it just loops. It loops 2 timers. So you could loop an infinite number of timers and it will announce different things that if you set it to, it will announce a different thing at the start of each timer. So yeah, you certainly could do that. Absolutely, yeah, you could. But I mean, how strictly do you want to be timed to do your, 10 push-ups and you get your glass of water and your all that sort of things? I can see that. I don't think the timer would necessarily be the right thing for that.
Timed, yeah, I see. So it's not
but okay. What I would do for that is in To Do, make that checklist. Give the checklist a title and sort of, because that's what I was literally doing. That thing about Monday afternoon, I've got to do that, enter their Quizlet scores, give them the next Quizlet deck into their class. I've got to check their attendance. I've got to do because at the end of the day, you're brain dead. I can't think of what I've got to do, but it is so good that it's, I've just done 3 classes back to back. My Monday was 1, 2, and 3. I get to the end, I have some lunch and I sit there and go, right, somebody tell me what the hell to do. And there it is. And I was like, okay, do, and everything's done. And I did it in a brain dead state, but it got it done. If I had to remember what to do, impossible. So I putting it, making it all about me, but putting it into my little regime here, I'd make a checklist on a to-do list to do with that, or in reminders, or in some freebie app as well. Yeah.
And also it's good to put the brain dead stuff at the end of the day when you don't have the time, the power to think. Just
exactly. Yeah.
Heavy lifting in the morning.
Right on, exactly, yeah, and in fact, on that to-do list, you can tag certain items, and I used to, before I kind of got more organized, I did have a tag. I would tag certain things that got to be done as brain dead, so I could leave them till the end of the day, and I'd have my little tag of brain dead things to do, like put this away and pack that, and don't forget. Yeah. Glenn, you're up again. Thanks, Andy. Thanks.
Before we get to Glenn, sorry, I'm just going to a bit. It's about 11:28, and technically, it's time to end. But we don't have another presentation, so we can probably go for about another 5 minutes or so, Steve.
Oh, cool. Yeah, great. I'm happy to. Yeah, Glenn, what do you got? Lots of questions, Glenn.
Well, it wasn't a question. I'll save that for.
I'm looking at your name, your screen name. Lots of questions.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that I've heard and not really easily been able to put into effect that if you've got a boatload of things to do in your life, you can find, say, the things that only take a minute or 2 to do and do them first.
Yep.
I mean, it sort of cleans out your inbox tray, whatever it is, sending an email to mom or whatever. I haven't been able to get it done because there's so many of mine that are the 1 or 2 minute jobs that they end up killing 2-3 hours, but it's a thought I'm just passing on.
Right. Yeah, I heard that as I think within the Pomodoro system, which I've looked at, but decided I wasn't going to do it. But that is something like if when some task lands on your lap, if it's going to take you less than 10 minutes, you do it right now. If it's going to take you longer than that, then you sort of organize it, you put it away. But I mean, that first half an hour of my sort of work day every day, of that thing of to do and organize, is most things will fall into that. Quick email here, fire that off. And I mean, she's telling me every 5 minutes how much time I've got left. And you know what? I mean, if you do try this with that timer, especially with that timer, and it doesn't have to be a voice timer or any sort of timer. I've been amazed at how many times I've okay, let's get going. Here's my day. Okay, I'll set the timer. Right, keep doing this thing for 30 minutes. And I get going. I do this and do this. And then I hear she because she says, excuse me, sir, right? Excuse me, sir, keep doing this thing for another 25 minutes. And I'm like, what? I've only been going 5 minutes. I feel like I've done 20 minutes already. I've gotten so much done in that first 5 minutes. It's like, geez, oh, this is great. Okay, I've already knocked off 6 things on my list. Cool, okay. But other times you get stuck on something and suddenly it's like counting down. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to cycle this one again. And I'll do that. You're free to do that, of course. I'll need another half an hour. Or if I've got, actually what I've been noticing, I've done a few times this summer vacation with the kids at home and everything. I don't want to be spending 6 hours in my home office. But I've got like 3 hours, but I want to kick a bunch of cans. So I've got a second one there that says, keep doing this thing for 15 minutes, or you could change it. I've just run 2 because I like to have a 30-minute, but keep doing this in 15 minutes. Again, it's amazing what you can get done and just kick that thing down the road. And it's like so many things you look at it and go, oh, I need more time than 15 minutes. You do it anyway, and blow me down, you got most of it done. Right? You would be amazed. And this is what I found through the winter. I've got to write this paper about such and such. And I thought it would take me 2 weeks sort of full time. It took me, 2 weeks of half an hour a day, and it was done. And I submitted this paper to the TLT before, a week before he wanted it. And he said, oh, cool. Okay, done. Yep. It's magic. Yeah, but don't underestimate how much you can get done in a short amount of time. And you have that timer there to give you that boost and sort of organize how much time you got left, because occasionally you're doing something and you've got, she says you got 5 minutes left. I'm like, oh, I'm actually might be able to finish this, ramp it up a gear. Brrr, yeah, done. Okay, cool. I can wipe that off the list. Done. Otherwise, if without that 5 minutes, it may have sort of dragged out. And the other thing I have noticed occasionally, I'm talking too much, but if I decide to just keep on going on something, if I do have a deadline, right, I've got to write this thing before Thursday. So half an hour is not going to cut it. So I'll do it. It's going to take 3 hours today and 3 hours tomorrow. But man, I'm so exhausted after 3 hours, so wrecked. But through the winter, when I was doing half an hour, I could go for, I'd start at 9 o'clock. It'd come 3 o'clock. I'm like, well, geez, I better sort of take a break because I should, but I don't really need to, but I guess I should. Doing something for 3 hours is draining, but doing 6 things for 30 minutes is not, generally speaking. All right, I could talk about this all day. It's fun.
Well, wait until the timer goes off telling you to go do something else.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go and do something else. Yes. Stop doing this thing. Go and do something else.
No, don't forget to say sir. You've got to be polite.
Yes. Excuse me, sir. Keep doing this thing.
Well, actually, yes. I think you can keep talking about it until 1, right? Edward starts off at 1, but until then, there's no need to close the room.
Essentially, no. You can keep going. Just wanted to say that officially, we should probably stop the recording. Okay. So that then it doesn't go too much longer, and then other people feel that I've got the gist of what I want to get, and people can stick around. Sure. I'm not going to stick around because if this is not officially happening, then I don't have to worry about any problems because I got to go make lunch. But Steve, how are you feeling? Was that good?
Great, thank you.
Okay,
yes.
So another quick round of applause.
All right, thanks everybody.
And I will now stop the recording.